These classes are provided by CECA, guys. Everyone knows that, and these classes are free of the cost. We do not charge anything for the classes, and there is no limitation on the number of classes you can attend as well. So you can attend any class at any moment, provided that within definitely within the given time slot, which is 2 to 4 for IELTS. And there are other services which mentioned here, which we're providing for the free. If you after, or anybody you know after any of the services mentioned in this slide, you can tell that person and they can avail the benefits of getting free piece of advice, free classes for IELTS PTE, and free NATI classes if they are concerned with Hindi, Punjabi, Urdu or Nepalese language. And same goes to if anybody is on the visitor visa, want to convert it into the student visa, that is also the service provided here, and we are actually getting the results. You can go and check the Facebook page of Sika for the updates. So that's how we are getting the results. So the process is going on. Maybe it's taking a bit longer as compared to the past, but definitely the results are positive. So anybody after such services, you can tell them as well, so that they can also take the benefit from the same. And you, if you are after, definitely you can get, you can just ring up on this number and you can get the details regarding anything you want to ask, right? So talking about the class today, it's going to be the listening module. Yes, good afternoon, Sheetal. How are you?
Good. How are you, Aman?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah.
So we will be just first talking about the listening and brushing up what exactly we are looking within our answer and how we are understanding the paraphrasing of this specific module. Actually, the listening, it's being the most scoring module, because obviously you are hearing and answers are there in the recording only. And if you can learn these tactics of paraphrasing, ultimately you are getting more and more answers, and keeping the answers in the given format make you fetch more marks, definitely taking care of punctuation and spelling. So the basic things and important thing at the same time, we need to take care about them, because that's how we can fetch more and more marks from the listening. And definitely this is like how we can increase our overall band score. As I told you, this is the most scoring one. Even student get 9 in here, right? And even the students get 8, 8.5 here. And I know the majority, if you are after any migration processes, your score is 8,777, right? And if you are after the education purposes, right, you want to locate or migrate to a country for study purposes, then your score is according to your qualification. So most probably it's 6, 6.5 each, sort of that you will be after. So this can boost up your overall score as well. And this can actually, this is the module where you can fetch more and more scores as well. So it's 2:10. Let's start with the class today. Academic or general, it is uniform to both of you, both of the class of the candidate. So there is no difference in the listening, right? And Vaishnavi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, this is, we have started with our class for the listening today. And can you please keep yourself on mute if you don't have any questions?
Yeah, sure.
All right, thank you. Okay, so guys, we will be having only one listening test, and that's going to be the first item type module for the IELTS exam, right? After listening, there will be reading, that what we discussed yesterday, and then follows with the writing module. And speaking, it's a different a module, like it will be on the same day, and it can be on any other day as well. Like, but these three modules, they will be all together in the given sequence: listening, reading, and writing. So there will be 4 sections, and we will be listening to 40 questions in total. So target here is that the more marks you can fetch out of these 40 questions, the more score. So if your score is 8, so your target score is, like, if you get 36 right here, 35, 30, I would say, yeah, 36, then you can get 8 band. So you can understand like how much you need to understand the listening module, because if the target is 8, so that means ultimately, in just another word, I would say, you have to correct all the question. So just in case maybe you are just messing up any question Like sometime it can happen, like I heard something or I wrote something, or the spellings are different, or punctuation mistake is there. So still, to be on safer side, still I am not lacking behind my required score, right? So the 40 questions, that's what we have to do. And the target for 8 band people, it's going to be all the 40. That is your target. After 6 band, so at least correct 30 in the practice session, because 30 is equals to 7. But again, if in any case you're doing any mistake, still you will be on the safer side, right? The section 1, that's what we will be starting today now. It is a conversation between two people. Like as we guys are talking, I'll be asking few questions to you and you are answering me. Like, what's your name? Where do you live? What is the postcode? What is your mobile number? And maybe some question maybe you have with me for listening. Okay. So maybe some question you have, like what is the organization name providing the free classes? That is CECA, CECA. Okay, and what is the contact number? So maybe I'll be just saying the contact number here, right? So this is sort of a conversation, dialogue delivery. I'm asking, you answering, you asking, I'm answering. So this is how the section 1 of the listening, and it is the section where you can get all the 10 questions easily, right? This is the most scoring section. For 8, how much we need to be correct out of 40? So for 8, as I discussed earlier, Sana, you have to correct, your target need to be at least 36, right? So that means you can just have the capacity of doing 2 or 3 wrong, and that's it. Because to be on safer scale, 36 should be your target, must be your target score, right? Okay, and the second section, it's going to be one speaker only. So it is more of a social context conversation recording. So the one speaker, she will be explaining about the facilities provided at the local council, the project they are organizing or doing, and continuing with for the development of the children facilities in the locality, right? And organizing few sorts of the football match or cricket matches for the adults and the youngsters, right? And then there is a renovation going on in the theater, and what sort of changes are going to take place there. And there is a historical home of some writer or some painter, and we are getting a just tour of that home, right? So direction wise, that's we call map. So that sort of information, conversation recording, you will be listening in the section 2 of the listening. As I told you, the target, I always maintain a target with every section. Section 1, target is all 10, because it is easy here, because the most of the information we will be noting down is going to be date, place name, and some sort of time we are taking down, numbers we are taking down, postcodes. So it's very easy to get all those 10 marks, keeping in mind that the format, singular plural errors and spelling errors, if we are not doing that, it is easy to get all those 10 marks. Section 2, again, like as the test progress, it starts becoming difficult. But yes, section 2, it's not that difficult. Again, only one speaker will there, sort of a monologue. But yes, you can get all the 10 questions. They will be in different sets. So there is never a module in the listening, a section in the listening, where you will be listening all the question, or like from all the 10 question in one recording only, except fourth section, because fourth section, sometimes 31 to 40 question they play in one recording only. But all the remaining 1, 2, and 3, you will be hearing two different recordings, sometimes 3 different recordings to find the answer, right? So that give you pauses, right? Pauses of 20 second, pause of 20 second in between the section. So those 20 seconds are very crucial. What you can do in that, you did the question number, okay, you did the question number 11 to suppose 13, right? 3 questions are in one recording for the section number 2. Now they give you 20-second pause. Quickly go towards the question number 14 to 17 and read what is the format, what the question is asking, and plan which WH question I'm finding here, right? WH mean, are you finding who? Are you finding what? You finding where? Why? What sort of information you are after in the recording, right? So it's called planning your answer before in those 20 seconds. That will channelize your brain, and you will be just looking for specific details. Suppose I'm just about to listen, okay, what is the timing of the match, right? So I am just looking for the time. So reading the question prior to the recording, it helps you to focus your brain on that specific piece of information, and when you're hearing in the recording, ultimately you're getting it quickly. Some students, they get the information very quickly. The problem comes with the format, right? So format is like, just keep all the answers in the capitals only, right? Other than that, some words, they are hyphenated. Normally if it says no more than 3 words, right, and the answer is low key inconsistent activities, suppose, right? And feel like, now these are the 4 words, the instructions say the 3 words, and of course I cannot miss any word, because if I want to write this phrase, I have to write it fully. So in that case, low key, it's going to be hyphenated, right? It is a clue as well. When the instruction says no more than 3 words and the answer is in 4 words, always look if there is any possibility of hyphenated word in the answer. If yes, do that and write the answer. And if you're not getting it at all, then what is the best thing? Then simply whatever you feel is the noun in the answer, write that first, after that adjective, and followed with as I told you, right? And section third, it's going to be academic context, third and fourth. The technical words, vocabulary you will be hearing after the section 1 and 2. So here in this section, normally there will be 3, or sometimes there are 4 speakers. So you are hearing to more than 1 or 2 voices. Like normally it will be 3 voices, and then it can be 4 voices as well, right? For example, student discussing about the assignment. For example, tutor advising about the reference books, right? Tutor discussing the results of the assignment, right? Whether the student get the high mark on something, low mark on something, why is the case, what he need to include it, what is expected from the next assignment. So this sort of conversation, normally this sort of conversation will be here in the section 3. So 2 student, 1 tutor is the common most scenario, right? And then it can be 3 or 4 voices as well, where there are 3 students, 1 tutor discussing about this sort of things only, like assignments, project work, reference book, books, and titles or the topics to be included in the assignment. So this will be the content in the section 3 always, right? Section 4th, again academic. This is the most difficult one. Why? First of all, sometimes the recording goes from 31 to 40 question in one piece of recording only. As I told you, in section 1 to 3, the recordings will be in different sets, like 11 to 13, 13 to 17, yeah, or 1 to 5, 5 to 10. So these are like different sets. But this, what maybe this could not, this is not the case with the section 4, but sometime it is also divided into 2 sections, but majority of time it is not, right? So this is one reason of it's being difficult. Second, there will be 1 speaker. Okay, no worries, same like 2. But the problem here is the speaker is will be giving a lecture, a seminar, a presentation, right? So all these 3 things are like, they are lengthy conversations, right? When we usually hear for listening to a supposed presentation. So they are talking about the main points, but also they adding more details, references, and explanation, description, discussions. So that's what will be the whole recording like. And that mean, like, my answers are there, but with the answer there is lot of information, much more information is provided, and it's like I need more concentration to understand where they are talking about the question mentioned, and they are answering that question, and how to pick that answer only, and avoiding or not giving attention to the unimportant discussion, explanation, or any references added into that section. So that makes it more difficult, and sometimes it's language as well, which is more academic, technical, and that's why it is considered. But it's not like we cannot get the answers here. Usually student gets more, they do more mistakes in the section 4 and 3, but you can avoid that by planning your answers before. So always look what questions are there, read them, right? Underline the things in that, If you're doing paper pen, and even if you're on the computer sheet, just look and keep in mind the keynotes of the question. And when you listen that keynote in the recording, so be like stay focused there, pay full attention there, because that's the space where you will be hearing your answer, right? It can be really quick in the recording as soon as it starts. It can be, you know, after 4, 5, 6 sentences in the recording as well, right? So there is no parameter like when your answer will be coming in the recording, right? You can nobody can tell you that, because sometime in the section 1 the answers are very quick, like one after one, one after one, you will get all the 10 answers. Section 2, the gap starts widening, right? Section 3 and 4, again it could be the case, some question you hearing one after another, some question there is a lot of information in between, and then comes the answer, right? So there is no parameter of how much length your answers will be there in the recording. So it's like you have to be concentrative enough throughout the listening. The length of the total test for the paper based is 40. For the computer based is 32, right? 30 minutes audio will play, 2 minutes to check your answer, and here 10 minutes will be transferring your answer. Transferring your answer, typing your answer, follow that in the capital letters only, and take care of any, because sometimes there are 1 or 2 answers which are hyphenated, or maybe they need a comma in between, right? So if that's the case, just pay attention on that particular questions, and write them in a good format, because maybe you need 1 or 2 scores to reach to 38 band, and those are the question where you are missing on the punctuation and you will be losing that mark, right? And practice with the answer sheet. Yes, the Google is when you type in the Google listening test, IELTS listening test answer sheet, so you will get that PDF form, right? You can even download that, it's downloadable, and you can download that and try to write your answer on exactly on that answer sheet when you are near to the exam, so that it can give you a practice of how you can fix your answer in that given spaces for every answer. Are you ruining the sequence of the question, or you are just keeping your answer intact the box only? You must not go out of the box. It's like your answer must be within the box only, given space only, right? Because these sheets are OMR, so whatever you are typing out of the box, suppose the answer is lengthy and you are getting out of the box something, that won't be checked as your answer. Maybe it will be counted as a spelling error or incomplete answer, so you won't be getting that mark. So it's important that your answer must be intact within the box only and not touching the boundaries of that box, right? You are hearing the recording only once for sure. And if you're sitting for a paper and pen based exam, always use a pencil, never use a pen, because if you're making any mistake, it will just make the sheet untidy, and obviously you cannot the computer is checking OMR sheets are there for listening and reading, so it will be problem for you. You never know, like this is going to actually affect your score. So always use a pencil, even for your writing essay and task 1 letter or whatever it may be. So you have to use only pencil, because it will just make it more good in the format. Like if you get any mistake spelling or something, you can easily rub that in. With the pen you have to cut it, and then you have to rewrite that, it will cover space, make it messy, sheet look untidy, right? So it is advisable that use pencils only. Check your headphones are working or not. Both the tests, they will give you 3 chances to check your headphones. Unplug them, plug them, make volume highest at the topmost position, get it to the lowest position, check all these things, volume up and down, plug it, unplug it, check the wires, like if there are anything like you get disturbed, if the wire is touched by your hand mistakenly or something like that. So check all these things before starting with your listening exam. There will be 3 chances. If you raise the hand, they can change your headphone, and then again they will give you a chance to check that to your satisfaction. And when you feel okay, now this is fine, they will be starting your test. But in between, if it's happened, they are not responsible, because they given you a chance, so that is your loss. So it's very important that you check them before starting of the listening exam, because they won't be stopping the listening for you, whether it's a computer based, whether it's a paper and pen based exam. Scores are calculated by correct answer. There is no negative marking. So out of 40, how many answers you are doing correct, that will be your score, and you can convert them into the band furthermore. But there is no negative marking. That's the best thing. So you are not leaving any question unanswered. So whatever you feel is the possible answer, you must write that. If it gets right, you get 1 mark. If it's get wrong, you will be getting 0 mark. But yeah, in any other case, if you're leaving it blank, you are getting 0 again. So it's like safe to write the answer because of there is no negative marking. Answer must be written in one case, right? So it's not like that one answer I'm writing in the capital letter and other I am writing in the small letter, then I'm just following the cursive handwriting. No. So there should be a uniformity in your answers. And normally like this is recommended, highly recommended, use capitals only. Never follow any other form of the the order, like how you are writing your answer, right? Just keep it to them like garden. And if you feel you know the punctuation rule 100% capitalization, you won't be doing any mistake, you can either write in small letter, keeping in mind that whenever it is required to write in a capital letter, like for the proper nouns, like country names, the person name, or any other such detail, you are changing the style of the writing, right? This is what you need to keep in mind if you follow the small letters, right? Other than that, capital letter will work for every other answer. Keep an eye on number of words for each answer. Majority 60% of the answer they will be in 1 or 2 words. That's it. Only 40% will be the answer when they are saying 3 words, when they will be saying, and rare case they will be saying 4 words, right? So keep an eye on the number of words because that's the format of the answer. If it's not in the format, you won't be getting score. If it's the instruction says no more than 2 words and or a number. Now, and or a number, that mean it can be 3 words and also a number as well. Or what is the another possible way? It can be 2 words only, or it can be a number only as well. So as per this instruction, all these 4 answers are correct, right? So your answer can be in any 4 formats as per the given instruction. Craftsman, 1 word in the word limit, 2 words, local craftsman in the word limit, 60, just a number, it says or, it's fine. 60 local craftsmen, okay, just 1 number and 2 words, still good, right? And if just in case you are adding more numbers to that, right? You have written 60, 80 local craftsmen. So this makes this answer wrong because they said a number. So I cannot write 2 numbers. But yeah, if the instruction says and or numbers and there is no a here, so then this answer is also right. So that's very important that how you are writing the answer, if it's in the given format or if you're changing the format, so it affects your score, right? So number, so it's a hint basically. When in the instruction it says number, so maybe there is a question which having 2 numbers as your answer, right? So this works as a hint as well, because if it's going to be only 1 number, there will be written only a number. If any answer can be having, like might be having 2 numbers in that, so only then they will be giving instruction here as numbers, right? Moving on. Okay, the preposition. So don't get confused with the preposition. If it's a place name and grammatically we feel like, okay, if I have to write the place name, I have to write the preposition as well. But no, this is not the case here. You have to write the place name and the question. If it's like, for example, in this format, you don't have to worry about the preposition. You can simply write the place name like this, right? Australia, that's it. You don't need to in, on, at, nothing. You don't have to write any preposition, even if it's a place name as well. Now, if it's a sentence, incomplete sentence, then maybe you have to take care about that. The best place to treat him, right? And then this is a space. So then I'll be writing at good restaurant. Good is the name here. That's what I got in my mind, right? So it and again it depends. If the instruction for this sort of question says no more than 3 words, only then I can add these 3. If it says 2 words, then again you are missing on preposition, because most important is noun as the answer, right? So this is how you can judge how I'm writing my answer and being into the format, so that I'm not losing that marks. So all words and numbers are counted. Never feel like if I'm writing a, it's not counted. If you're writing a, it will be counted as 1 word. Holiday as 2 words. So this is 2 words, right? 1950, it's a one number. Till the time it's one number, 1950, it will be counted as one number. Spellings definitely are important. You writing number and you missed E in that, you won't be getting that mark. Singular plural is also important. You have to write answer as questions, and you are writing question, you will not be getting that mark. Punctuation is important. You have to make Australia a capital, and you haven't do that in the question, haven't done that, you won't be receiving that score, right? So it all depends on the instruction. So always concentrate on the instruction, what it says. And for singular plural, you have to concentrate on the, that means the question in the on the question booklet, like what sort of question it is. Its answer can be a plural word as well or singular word as well. And when you listening, listen carefully, because that will how you can better understand if it's a singular or a plural word. These are the question types here. So many of you have already practiced with me these all question types, and today I'm just bringing up a new test, and that's actually a very interesting one. That's what we will be practicing today. Now the main thing, don't try to understand everything as like reading. Our target here is questions. So wherever your question, and when the recording reach to your question on the question booklet, then you have to pay full concentration and understand what they are saying in context with that question, right? Other than that, obviously I'm listening the conversation, but it's not important to understand each and everything in that. But when it is question, then you have to scan that conversation, what they are talking about, right? Prepare the question. It will give yourself a preparation. Your mind will be channelized, you will be focused, you will be listening to, okay, I'm listening a place, I'm listening a time, I'm listening a person name, organization name, or reason to that, or I'm looking for an activity here. So this will tell you what you are after, and actually it works, right? It works, and then you are getting more answers. So you can implement that, and actually you can take what are the fruits of it. Answers can come quickly. As I told you, there is no parameter how will be the answers are embedded in the recording. So they can be quick, they can be at length. So it is like you cannot judge that. Keep your eye on the next question as soon as you finishes the writing. And I would suggest, even you are not finished with the writing or typing, still keep an eye on the next question. I know the answer of this question is strategies. I'm writing the strategies, but I have to keep listening as well, that is the recording is going to the next question. And you never know, you writing, you just kept busy in writing strategies, and the next question is gone away, right? So maybe you can abbreviate the spelling quickly, type the abbreviated spelling quickly for the lengthy words, and when you got that 10 minutes or 2 minutes time, you can come back and correct the spellings, right? Make notes while listening. So some question you are actually not sure what could be the possible answer. I'm just not sure, I couldn't understand at all. So that is not the time when we judge and analyze the things. What you can do, just quickly take notes on the question booklet. You can take the notes on question booklet, no one will say you anything. And same goes to the computer base. There is a they just give you a space, right, for taking notes. So you can just quickly take notes for that question. So when you have that end time 10 or 2, you can come back, and out of the notes, whichever you feel the most possible answer, you can fix that answer in the given space, right? Now the next thing here is common trap. So the common trap in the recording, many of you know them right now, but I just want to refresh them. Answers that are changed. So maybe you are listening to some particular place name. They are just saying the place name there, but what's happening after a few words, they're changing the place name again. After a few words, they're changing the place name again. For that question, you have to pay concentration to all the names they are saying and which context they are saying, and look into the question. What is your question? Are you looking for where I can meet the vice chancellor of the university, right? Or maybe they are just giving 4 places name in one sentence. For that question, listen to the end, listen all the places, listen what reference they are giving with the places, and that's how you can reach to the right answer. Maybe you have written the wrong at the first go, don't worry, but just keep listening, keep concentrating, so that you get the right answer as quickly, because they will be contradicting the statement. After first place name, they'll be contradicting the statement, and that's how you know, no, this is not the right answer. There will be more conversation. Then keep an ear on that. Keep listening when they will be saying where you can see the vice chancellor. Finally, similar they have used similar words in the recording as text. So in the text, maybe it is written like generally answer to ask question, and same words you are hearing in the recording. It's also a trap when they use similar word in the recording as they are used in the text, right? So it is like we normally assume, okay, now this could be the answer normally with the MCQs, right? But we have to look for the meanings, right? If the meanings are same, because the all answers are paraphrased, no answer will be given in the same words. All answer are paraphrased, except the cases are section 4 where there are technical words, because technical words, they don't have their synonyms, right? So there will be very 2 to 3 questions only in the 4th section only. So if there are technical words, we cannot change them. But besides that, if MCQ, definitely all the 4 statement can be in a like using different words but keeping the meaning same. So look for meanings, right? Same meanings in the MCQ. Never go after the same words, right? But yes, again, I told you the technical words, if they have written some sort of written assignments, even for that, they will be giving you a paraphrasing. Just in case they're saying written assignment, then you can take it as like the same answer. But most of the cases, they will be paraphrasing. So maybe they have written in written assignments, so they will be have give saying in the recording like you have to provided a lengthy essay in the academic form, right? So this is actually paraphrasing of the same thing, right? This is how they embed the answer. Never they say in the similar words. Now repeating words is the third trap. So it happens usually in the section 3 where we have MCQ and there are 3-4 speakers talking about the project assignment, these sort of things. So there are options in the 3 sections. So when they just go after the option, they just say a one option 2 or 3 times, and we just take it, okay, now this is they are saying, I'll be just taking it as my answer. But they are just maybe confusing you. So just listen carefully to the key information, because just because you're concentrating more on the answer which is repeated again and again, or the option which is repeated again and again, you might miss the keynote or key phrase which actually the real answer is, right? So that's how you see from section 1 to 4 they start using the tricks to confuse you, and that's how the answer, like the possibility of the right answer, it starts decreasing. But yes, we have to understand, we have to just get all the marks to reach the 8 band score. Listen for plurals, very important. Pay attention to plural. This is very tiny mistake, but it makes you lose 1 or 2 or 3 marks which are of singular and plural. And you know this trick. If you feel you heard the word books and you're not sure, like I have to write book or books, right? That means you are in a dicey situation. So just in the whole listening, like the 40 question, once you can use this trick, write book and put the S in the bracket, right? So it is like then act as an optional plural. So if it is books, still that answer will be corrected. If it's only book, still that answer will be corrected. But you can use this trick only once out of all the 40 questions, right? So these are the common trappers and the things you must look, and you can get better scoring out of the listening. Listen to the example carefully. They will tell you the pronunciation of the speaker, they will tell you the rate of speech of the speaker, and the voice, if it's like very clear or it is harsh or rude sort of voice. So this will give you a picture of like how much concentration you have to pay, right? Sometimes the pronunciation are American, they are very fast. It's like definitely we have to pay more focus at that moment then. And you know, sometimes it could be the case in the section 1 only you get the American pronunciation that is fast, and all the 10 question in one recording only. Actually this happened in the exam, so we have to be prepared. So always listens to the example carefully. They will tell you what what is expected now onwards, so you can prepare yourself, right? Accents different are used, but mostly you will be hearing the British accent. So if you want to improve your listening, listen British music, listen British podcast, news channels, so that you get the pronunciation, understanding of the pronunciation, and it will increase your score in the listening, right? Same goes to, you can listen to the American as well, because after British, they mostly use the American pronunciation. Now, yes, in these days, Australian accent is also there. So mostly practice with British, American, and Australian accent, like in the descending order. So it will actually give you more and more understanding of the language, of the different pronunciation, and definitely that's what is all needed here. So you give your ear practice of different accents, so that's how you can fetch more marks here, because normally students miss the things because that's too fast, they don't understand the word or actual answer, right? And this is why, because we are not so much accustomed to that sort of pronunciation, right? So if you give yourself that practice, listening is all good to you. Look for title in case of diagrams, map, table, and process. So title will tell you what sort of diagram and what you are after. So always look into the titles. If it's a map of a house, if it's a map of a road, if it's a diagram of a pendulum clock, if it's a diagram of a water heater system in a room, right? So it will tell you what actually you are looking at. So always look for the title to get a better understanding of the diagram even before the audio start. Check where all the questions are in the text prior to recording. So when you have that preparation time, when example is done, they give you time to read the question. Look what is the numbering, 1, 2, 3, 4, where they are located. Because after 1, you have to go to 2, 2 after 3, 3 to 4. So it's like better to just look into where the questions are lying, so that you are not getting lost around when you're listening to recording and you're finding, okay, where the question number 6 is. So better to just take a look on the question prior where they are lying, so that you can straight go after 5 to 6 easily, not wasting any time, not missing any part of the conversation. No playback button, no nothing like that. Recording can be played twice in any case, even if your headphones are not working, it's your mistake, not them, not there. So you will be losing mark on that. So that's why everything I'm telling you here is important. Technical academic word will be there, as I told you in the section 4 especially. Those are not changed. Maybe you hearing the same word in the recording, the same word is written in the question booklet with the section 4. So it's not like don't leave it because you feel like this is not paraphrased, because some words they don't paraphrase when it comes to the technical language vocabulary. And write what you hear. Never assume the things in the listening. Like as in reading, I told you, you have to pick the same answer. So same goes to listening. You have to pick the same, like the way of the sentence they have said in the recording. If they said, you know, here is a sequence by an adult, and here is accompanied by an adult. An option gave me an accompanying adult and adult. So out of these two, what you hear in the sequence is going to be your answer. If you hear an adult in the sequence, then you are marking this one. If you're hearing an accompanying adult is in the sequence, then you're marking A as the answer. So here it's important what you're hearing and what sequence you're hearing that word. That's how you will be writing it. You cannot change the sequence of the answer, right? And according to now this conversation we are looking at, our answer is going to be B, because that's what I hear in a sequence in the recording, not the option A. So this is important. We never judge anything on our own knowledge base, right? We always write the answer as we hearing them in the recording. So it's like we have to pay more concentration and we have to stay focused to get more answers here. So the best strategy, guys, if you want to improve your listening, is to practice with the scripts, like the we call them transcripts. So transcripts, they are available. And whose mic is turned up? Can you please turn that down? All right. Okay. So transcripts are like what? We got the Cambridge book series, right? And it's available on the Google as in the PDF form. And even if it's not available, there are websites where you can get the listening test online. And when you see the question, after the question, they have written tape scripts or transcripts, right? So those are actually the whole recording, like whole recording. That means whatever you have heard, that's in a written format that we call script of that. So what you can do to improve your listening score, keep the script in front of you, keep the questions in front of you and put the recording on the headphones, earpieces, and start listening, right? Now see, like with the tip of your pencil, move in the transcript, how they are saying the words, how they are changing the answers, how they are repeating a word but that actually not an answer, and how they have embedded the answer. What is the, like, almost the length between the section 4 answer, they are coming after, what is the frequency of the answer, they coming so quickly one after another, or they just, there are just 3-4 sentences after, yeah, after every answer. So all the things you can judge, you can understand pronunciation, you can understand their tricks when you are practicing with the script, right? So that's very important. It will help you a lot. Even you can try, because word to word written text is there, same audio you're listening, same words are there, questions are there, so you can understand their technique, because getting it is like correct, making all 40 answers correct, right? So it is much effective, most effective strategy if you want to improve your listening band score. Accuracy check, definitely you can check the spellings you are writing, the accuracy of yourself, like how accurate in I'm getting answers, I'm hearing the same thing and it is written in the same way and I'm getting the answer, okay, I'm accurate with this strategy. No, I'm not right here, I have to change my strategy to listen, to understand the things they are mentioning here, right? So all the things, it's like you can do a self analysis as well, and you can do an accuracy check as well. Read aloud, so maybe sometime this will help you in speaking as well. Script in front of you, try to just read that aloud, right? It will tell you how they pronounce within the audio itself. You listening to something, and as like we are listening and we are reading the same thing, just the same activity I'm saying here, try to read with the recording. You're hearing a recording and you're reading it aloud as well. It will tell you what is the difference of you guys pronunciation. You saying a word maybe speaker and he might be saying speaker, right? So it's like that's how you can understand, okay, for me it's speaker, for him it's this. You will understand the pronunciation, right? You can understand the British, American, and Australian differences in the pronunciation. And as like we all are the neutral speaker of the language, we can judge, okay, now this is the difference, how they say it and how we understand it. So better, it will make your more, obviously the understanding of the words much better, sentences much better, ultimately leading to more score. So I will highly recommend that you practice with script and the listening. Okay, and synonym, much used. Paraphrasing is all about synonym, so I won't be concentrating much here. I told you how they are doing the things. Listening text says, Duchess, who is the only king's daughter? And the listening question says, who is the princess? Duchess, duke, and not given. So Duchess, who is the only king's daughter, and who is the princess? Obviously, so king, daughter, and princess are the synonym to each other. So king, daughter is actually the princess, right? So that means our answer is duchess here, not the duke, right? Or it's not given, it's given. So that's how they will be paraphrasing the thing by using the synonyms, right? And it's with from question number 1 till 40th. The paraphrasing is the thing. And get real life listening, yeah. And definitely when you are talking and to your friends, try to just understand and try to just maybe make a fun of the different pronunciation, practice with them and you can learn them better. These are the common mistakes when you proofreading your answer. Check it twice, all these mistakes. Like the first one, singular and plural one, no unit given. Suppose the answer is $30, right? Or pound 30, and you are just writing 30. You are not looking if the unit is given or not. So it will also be marked wrong. Now this is very tiny mistake, you see. So you have to check whether they have mentioned the unit. It could be any measurement, currency, or anything. Always look if something is in unit, if that unit is given or not. If not given, you are supposed to write that, right? If it's given, then it's okay. Then you are only writing 30 as the answer. It's fine. Like the spelling error. Now French and French, it's E and A. So there is a spelling error. So proofreading time, this three, four things must to be checked. Now, the word limit, answer sheet said 1 word, and you have written 5 words. So answer won't be right at any cost. So you have to pick a noun here. So what is a noun here? Restaurant. 1 word. Okay, I'm writing restaurant, right? This is how you will be picking your answer. So these are very tiny little mistakes, but they count big, right? They can bring back your score from 8 to 7.5. They can bring back your score from 8 to 7 as well, and 8 to 6 as well. Like, this is the potential of these errors. And yes, this is fine. And this is the atmosphere you need to be in while sitting for your listening exam, right? Now, moving to the practice question for today. This is very interesting practice session today, which is I picked up to just go through with. Okay, here it is. Okay, so this is the first 3 questions only. And have a look on these questions. This is New Zealand map. The question, which 3 other activity does the customer want to do? It actually doesn't have to do anything with the map. It's just that image. So one thing, this is example. The one ticked one is the example. You can't get the slides, but yes, definitely for sure you can take the screenshots while I'm doing the slides, right? Because these are just I made them for the class only, because that's how it become convenient to teach you guys without a board or something like that. It's accessible sort of, but definitely you can take the screenshots, right? All right, so these are the first 3 questions here. One is done, and it is an example. Besides that, there are 3 other options, right? So first you will be hearing this recording, and I think we don't need this map, so maybe I'll delete this. Yeah. Okay, so there are 7 questions on the screen right now. Just read them, and I'll be just playing the audio within 1 minute. Just read the question. Look what you are finding in here. Yes, we are doing all the 40, but this is what we started off with. Okay, so I'm just keeping mute myself for a moment. Read, and after 1 minute, I'll be playing the recording for the first section. Okay, I hope you have read the questions. So this is the recording I'm playing for the first 3 questions. I guess. No, it's for 7 questions. Yeah. It's like all the 10 questions in one recording. Okay, guys, I'll be keep moving up the question. Okay. Oh my God.
Good morning. Can I help you?
Is that audible to everyone?
Yes.
Okay, I'll just bring the 8 to 10 number question as well up, because that's actually in the same recording. It's the map. Okay, I have to show you on the next page. It's okay. I'll keep moving the sheet. Okay, so the question number 1 to, it has started now.
I'd like to get some information about trips to New Zealand. Certainly. You see, I'll be right with you. Thanks. Now, where would you like to go in New Zealand? Well, I was hoping to do a bit of travelling around, actually. There are a few things I'd like to see and do before I go back home. Right. One thing I really want to do is go to Christchurch. I have relatives living there that I can stay with, my mother's cousin, and I've heard it's a nice place. Yes, it's a lovely city, and staying with relatives will help with the budget, of course. The budget? It will save you some money. Oh, right. Well, I'm not too worried about that. I've saved quite a bit of money working in Australia. Oh, that's nice. Good for you. Well, you know that New Zealand consists of two main islands, the North Island and the South Island, and Christchurch is on the South Island. Is it? I was never very good at geography at school. Do you have a map I could look at? Sure. Here we are. Right, I see. And, well, then I'd also like to spend some time in Auckland, and maybe I could do an English language course there. Can you organise that sort of thing for me? Oh, certainly. We'd be happy to arrange that. But bear in mind that Auckland is in the North Island. Okay. And I'd also like to do some skiing or maybe even some snowboarding. I hear New Zealand is a great place for that. Yes, absolutely. But you should go to Auckland first for your studies, and then you can get the ferry across to the South Island and take the bus down to the snow. Oh, I don't like boats very much. I'm not much of a sailor. I think I'd prefer to fly. Right. What about joining a walking tour? That could be really fun. Not sure about walking, but joining a tour might be a good way to travel because then I might make some friends my own age. Now, let's get some details. Can I have your name, please? Yes, it's Sue Ming Lee, but you can call me Sue. Okay, Sue. And what's your address here in Melbourne? I'm living with my aunt in the suburb of Kew. It's 29 Lock Street. That's L-O-C-H, not L-O-C-K. Do you have a phone number that I can get you on? The best thing would be if I give you my mobile. I always have it on me. It's 0402 558 992. Okay. And when do you want to travel? Because you'll need to be down south in July or August. Oh, yes, of course. That's winter, isn't it? So I better go to Auckland in May. Yes, let's say departing from Melbourne on the 1st of May, that's a Saturday, and then you could begin your course on Monday the 3rd. That sounds great. And how long would you like to study for? A month, 2, 3? What do you think? Well, I'll probably need more than a month. What about 8 weeks till the end of June? Fine. I'll see what I can do. Oh, and how would you like to pay for this? On my Visa card, if that's possible.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 8 to 10.
So I'll be playing those questions later. Just see the answer for 1 to 7. And guys, I changed the setting, but never send answers to everyone. Always send answer to host. That's me. Right? So I'll be telling Guru and Birpal your first question's answer. I'll be telling later if they're right or wrong. And Fahad, your answers are right. And Birpal, the next question, that's 4th. It is wrong. Oh, it is right. And then the next one, that's right too. Okay. And now I just change the settings and you are able to send the answers to me only. All right. So let's hear the 8 to next set of the question. So what I can do here is decrease the size of it. I'll be removing this one. Okay, so you are able to see the question 8 to 10. It has a map, right? And I'm playing the recording with the same.
Now, let's lesson and answer questions 8 to 10.
Hello, Sue. It's Angelo from Cosmos Travel here. I've booked your flight and I've found you an English college called the Harbour Language Centre.
Great. Where exactly is that?
Well, have you got that little map I gave you yesterday?
Yes.
You see where the harbour is with the 3 wharves and the water?
Yes. Got that.
Okay, there are 2 parallel streets. Quay Street, that's Q-U-A-Y, and Customs Street. The building where the college is located is on Quay Street, opposite Prince's Wharf.
Right. Got it. And what about accommodation?
Well, I've booked you into a hotel for the first 3 nights, and then the accommodation officer will find you a family to live with.
Good. And where's the hotel?
It's a short walk from the college, on the corner of Queen Street and City Road.
Which corner exactly?
On the left-hand side as we're looking at the map.
Okay. Near the little park.
Yes, that's right.
And what about a good bookshop? I'm going to need to buy a dictionary and some English books.
Yes, well, I believe there's a really good language bookshop on the corner of Customs Street and Queen Street. It's near the college, so that's pretty convenient.
Thank you so much. You've been really helpful.
Okay, so that's the first section. And if you get all the marks from first section, it's pretty good because that's will be boosting up your score. And write your answer and send, and early your answer for the question number 1, 2, 3, right, 4, 5, and 6, and 7. Yeah, correct. Shan, all right. But yeah, you have given me the answer for the same. Yeah, it's right. Yeah, it's okay. Good, cool, good. Dobby, yeah. Third is fine, but I don't know about, it's going to be second, third. I guess you numbered wrong. Yeah, you numbered wrong. But okay, according to the right sequence, your 6th, your 5th and 4th answer is right. And yeah, out of first 3, 1 is right. Birpal, Ali, Shan, and okay, your answers are right for 8, 9, 10. And Gur, your answer for 10th is not right. And after that, Aman, answer for 10 and 9, 7, no, 10, 9, 5th, 1st and 2nd, and 3rd. That's right. So your all answers are right. Yes, your all answers are right, Ali. Okay, and if anybody typing can send the answer. If not, I'll be saying the answers to the first question where they send them to everyone. And Birpal, your first 3 answer, 1 is wrong. And Yagur, your answers are right. And the 4th and 5th is Birpal, right? Fahad, I told your answers are right, yeah? Okay, Sheetal. So 3rd is wrong. And after that, 10th is wrong. And Dobby, 2nd, 3rd is right. 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th is right. Okay, what about the 8, 9, and 10? Okay, that's quick. Let's see quick answers here. So the first one you heard, right? I mean, I just deleted that. It's D, E, and H. She wants to study English. She wants to do some winter sports, right? And she wants to meet young people. So D, E, and H was the answer for the first 3 1. Okay, Sana, that's right. And fourth answer is 29 Loch Street. L-O-C-H. She said clearly L-O-C-K, no. L-O-C-H. So fourth is wrong, Sana. Fifth is 558-992. Because 40402. Oh, sorry. 0402 is given. So if you're writing all the number, your answer will be incorrect. You have to just write what is missing, not the entire answer. So fifth is also wrong. Sixth, yeah, that's right. It's Saturday 1st May, or you have right 1st May, May 1st. All the possible answers are right. And then 7, 8 weeks. If anybody have written, it got 2 answers. So guys, you missed the 8th answer, I guess, every one of you. So it says, what about 8 weeks until the end of June? A month, 2 or 3? What do you think? We will be probably need more than a month. About 8 weeks until the end of June. All right, no,
So
that's
it's no
right.
more than 3 words.
Yeah, that's no more than 3 words and 8 weeks. And or a number, no, it says 8 weeks, 12 months. How does it say? Then they could bring, wow, looks like a month, 2 or 3. What do you think? We probably need more than a month. What about 8 weeks until the end of June? Okay, yeah, fine. And yeah, and remaining ones after the 8th, it's, sorry, after the 7th, it's 8, 9, and 10, which is A. Why it's A? It says Quay Street or the corner opposite to Prince Wharf. So A. Then where is hotel? Queen and City Road corner. And which side? As we can see, this is our right, this is our left. So this is our left and this is park, trees, right? So E. Last is corner of Custom and Queen Street near to the college. So here it is D. So A, E and D is the answer for the 8, 9 and 10. Oh yeah, you misunderstood and yes, I got it. So this is map, guys. You have to label it. That means these are the option. You have to write the correct letter. That's why I told you guys, Sana, that you have to read the instructions very carefully, A to G. That means these are our answers. So whatever as per their conversation is going to be our answer, that's what we will be putting up in these blanks, right? So A, then it was E, then it was D, right? All good. Let's go to the next set of the question. And you guys can count your score for that. Always read the instruction mentioned. It tells you what is expected from you for this particular question. Here it is. The next session, 11 to 20 questions. So this is the time you will be having to read the question number 11 to 13 first, because they will be in one recording. Then after 22nd, 14 to 18 will be played. And this is like one, you see, this is one table. It's just that I cannot fix it on one page. So that's why it's just like, this is 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. You better understand this. Instructions, read them. Radio program, that's what you will be hearing now. About a famous bridge. No more than 3 words. There are no numbers allowed. 3 answers. No more than and or a number. Only number. So again, answers. No more than 3, 1 and or a number. These two. So I'll be playing the first 3 now. Just loading, it will start buffering up and soon it will be start playing. Yeah, just loading. When it will load it up, it will start playing.
The Sydney Harbour Bridge is nearly 3/4 of a century old Now, to help celebrate this important occasion, our reporter Sarah Chambers has compiled this brief history of her favourite bridge.
A bridge is more than just a crossing over a river or a waterway. It is a landmark in its own right. A landmark which allows us to identify one city from another. Think, for instance, of the Bridge of Sighs in Venice, or the magnificent Charles Bridge in Prague. Each of these cities can be recognized by their famous bridges. The Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco is another example of a city known by its bridge. But in addition to this, a bridge is a kind of ornament for a city, similar, if you like, to a cathedral or a palace. Here in Sydney, we may not have our own palace, but we do have our famous and much-loved bridge, the Sydney Harbour Bridge, which is sometimes affectionately known as the coat hanger because of its arched shape. It was built back in the 1930s, and so the bridge is coming up for a significant birthday. Let's have a little look at its history. Although the idea of building a crossing over Sydney Harbour had been discussed many years earlier, it wasn't until the year 1916 that the state government agreed to allocate some money for the construction of a bridge. The chief engineer for the bridge was a man called Dr. John Bradfield, a brilliant engineer who supervised the entire project from beginning to end. First, they had to decide on a design, so he organised an international competition to choose a design, and ultimately got the one he wanted. The job went to a British engineering firm, and the contract was signed in 1924. The design he chose was the single arch bridge that you see today, made of steel with a tower at either end. In 1926, construction finally began. The first thing they had to do was demolish 800 houses around the site where the towers were to be built. The poor families, however, never received any compensation for this. But the project created thousands of jobs, much needed in those difficult times. Of course, like all projects of this size, it took much longer to build than originally planned. It was supposed to have been finished by 1930, but actually it wasn't completed for another 2 years. It also cost twice as much as the original quote, coming in at £9.5 million instead of the agreed contract price of £4.2 million. But what's new? The opening ceremony took place on the 19th of March, 1932, and a large crowd gathered for the occasion. The Premier of the state was just about to cut the ribbon when suddenly a man rode through the crowd mounted on a horse and slashed the ribbon with his sword. He wanted to be the first to cut the ribbon. Anyway, they tied the ribbon back together and the ceremony continued. The man on the horse was fined £5 for his offensive behaviour.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 19 and 20. Now listen and answer questions 19 and 20.
Since then, millions of cars have crossed the bridge, each paying a toll to do so. By the early 1980s, the government had paid off the loan for the money they'd borrowed all those years before. But motorists continued to pay to cross from north to south. This money was subsequently used to build a tunnel under the harbour to reduce the amount of traffic on the bridge. The tunnel was opened in 1992 and cost $544 million. It is 2.3 kilometres long and is equipped with all the latest technology, including closed-circuit television to monitor any problems. And it has most definitely reduced the load on the bridge, as it carries around 75,000 vehicles each day, which would otherwise have to use the bridge. And it's apparently strong enough to withstand the impact of a ship or even the impact of an earthquake. Has been a welcome solution to Sydney's traffic problems, but of course, a tunnel could never compete with a bridge as a landmark for any city. So let's wish the bridge a very happy birthday.
So I hope You all get the answers now, please, and kindly write answers with the number of the question. Do not send me answers just writing them without numbers. Class course schedule. Class course, I mean, you want to ask like what modules we do on what day. If that's the question, so normally we start the week with the reading, moving into the listening, right? And reading is like 2 times in a week. Why? Because at time we do academic and at time we do general, right? Listening is common, it's only once a week, normally on Tuesday or sometime Wednesday, normally on Tuesday, right? And the later days, like if we talk about the Friday and Saturday or Friday and Thursday, so those 2 days are for writing and speaking generally, right? So this is like how we start the week, because reading is going to be Monday, normally reading, then listening, then Wednesday is the day when we decide on like whether it's going to be academic reading or the task one, because otherwise we won't be able to cover each and everything. So yeah, that's how we conduct it. So you can, even if you feel like, you can come in class, see what's going on, and if it's of your interest or the area you want to improve in, you can stay, otherwise you can leave the session. Yeah, so it's like that. Okay, just looking into the answers, Pal, I actually looked your answers before as well, but yeah, few answers I guess it is like they're missing. 11, 12, 13 and 14, right? And 15 wrong. 16, where it is wrong. 17 is right. And 18, where it is, okay, 18 is right, 19 and 20th is right. After you, it's Ali. 11, 12, 13, 14, 6, no. 15 and 16 is wrong, guys. It cannot be the answer, the word you have typed in for 15. I don't know. We have to hear this question again. Same goes to this 16 one. Okay, then after 17, 18, 19 and okay, it does that. These are right. And after is Gur. 11, 12, 14, 15, 17, 18, 19 and 20th is right. Rest are wrong. Shan, 11, 12, 14, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19 and 20th is right.
I want to just say something.
Yes.
When it came to 15 and 16, the voice was cutting. So I just heard houses and I just guessed 15 because there was nothing mentioned. I think the voice was cutting off.
Okay, I'll play that part again and you can listen what is there.
No worries.
Because even I haven't, okay, I got the answer for 15 and 16 from few. Adobe first is wrong, 12 is right, 14 is right. And after that, 18 is right, 19 is right. Okay, and 20th is right. Sana, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17. But you have to type the word. You cannot do this, right? Otherwise it will be wrong. For 17. 18 and 20th is right. Okay, 20th is wrong because there is a spelling error. And you must write, yeah, even if you're writing only one answer, it will be right. But if you're giving two, they will be also right, provided that the spellings are good. No, still wrong. You're missing one word at the last. That's E. All right. Sheetal, 11, 13, 14, and 14 and 17, 19 and 19. There is a spelling error, so it is not right. So these are right only. 11, 13, 14, 17. Okay, let's talk about the answers, guys, and I want you to hear if anybody km to kilometer. Better write the full word, but yes, you can write km because it says words. So better, but yes, you can write the symbol, but yeah, don't write km, then write km and s, kilometers, right? So then it will be right. Km will be wrong. Here, the first answer, it says cities. The speaker compares a bridge to cathedral or a palace, and even if you have written palace only, the answer is right. The bridge nickname is coat hanger. So this is going to be your spelling. And if you have written the coat hanger, it's fine. And here you are writing government, state, all the answers are right. The 15 answer is 1924. And then here 16, the answer is 800 houses. I'll play this section again, only these two questions. 17, the answer is 9.5 million. And then man riding a horse. Right? And tunnel, how much lengthy it is? 2.3 kilometers. And what tunnel can withstand? A ship or an earthquake. So you can either write ship, you can either write earthquake, you can write a ship, you can write an earthquake. Ultimately, that's all going to be right. Okay, let's hear the question numbers 15
One thing,
and 16.
for 15, is it 1924 to 1926?
Something like that. I don't know, but I'm just playing it. Let's
Okay.
go.
Okay.
One he wanted. The job went to a British engineering firm, and the contract was signed in 1924.
Yeah, contract is signed in 1924. Contract signed with engineering firm 1924, and I guess 1926 when the construction starts or something like that happened. Let's listen.
Chose was the single arch bridge that you see today, made of steel with a tower at either end. In 1926, construction finally began. The first thing they had to do was demolish 800 houses around the site.
So it is clear basically what it is. One thing, this thing happened in 1924 and the construction began in 1926. And they have to knock down, demolish 800 houses. I hope it is clear now.
So I think that 15, it should be, you know, upwards where the contract is written, because both are separate events. So 1924 should be up.
But in any case, the answer cannot be in. A preposition cannot be an answer in any case. Yeah. And they said demolish here. So knocking down and demolishing, one and the same thing. As I told you, the paraphrasing will be done. Okay, let's see if I just delete this. The table comes. Table still remains like this only. So it's like we have to understand this is like 1924, one thing happened and this is, and definitely if you hear this section, there is no other thing you can mention here as an answer. Of course, in cannot be an answer. All right. And yes.
So that's not right, isn't it? 1924.
Which one?
15th one, 1924 to 1926. So I wrote 9.
Yeah, you have written 2. That's wrong. That's why it's wrong, because 2 is not needed there. It is the contract signed with the engineering firm in 1924. 1926 construction starts. So it is very clear, guys. How can I write 1924 to 26, or either I can write in here.
Yeah,
Yeah, it can be like maybe you're writing in 1926 sort of. But yes, again, in cannot be answer, never be answer, mostly noun, and
Yeah,
then maybe adjectives.
because it's 1924, because it's a clue can given from the column, it should be all the year dates. So it
Year
could,
days, exactly. Again, thank you, Sheetal. This is also one thing you can
yeah.
understand. The clue here is all the years are mentioned here, the timings. You see, this is also one thing you can check. Thank you. Good point. Bring forward. All right, let's see the next set of the question. And the students who didn't get, kindly ask question when you feel like something is something you didn't get, you didn't understand, like Adobe or any other student, right? Don't keep quiet. You have question, always do ask them. Okay, let's, yes.
20 question is say no more than 3 words. Can we write the impact of earthquake or reduce traffic amount
Name
of
one
traffic?
thing the tunnel can withstand. So they in question only, no, they mention now one thing.
One thing, yeah.
Yeah, one thing. So it could be a ship, it could be an earthquake, right? Because question says one thing. So that's why you cannot write impact or sort of 4 words or 3 words.
Okay,
You
pick
have to
the
write
noun.
that, you have to name that thing. So
Yeah,
that thing
yeah.
is ship or either it's an earthquake.
Yeah.
All right, let me just stop it and bring the next session. That's 21 to 30. So you can keep counting your score and see how much you are getting in here. And that will be your score out of 40. And this is the third section we are about to hear now. It is okay. Okay, section 3, question number. It has many images, guys. MCQs. Okay. All right, so here it is. I'm sharing it in a while. Let me just adjust the question numbers. Okay. You see there are images in here. So first question, it says you have to select the correct letter A, B, C. Yeah, and I guess you might be interested in improved font size. Okay, so you will hear 2 students discussing the subject of rock art, right? 21 to 27 are the question you will be hearing first, right? This is the question number, guys. Understand. So first understand this one, this image come listening. Which graph show the distribution of animals painted on the caves, right? Which graph show distribution? So you need to understand how they are giving percentages to the colors. Like if they're talking about bulls, are they talking 75%? About 75% is covered with the painting of the bulls, or more than 50, or just quarter of, less than quarter of. So as like that they will be saying, describing the graphs. So as per that, ABC, what describes the best, the distribution, whatever pie chart, you are fixing that alphabet as your answer. For 22 to 25, how does the women describe each type of drawing? So the bulls, if she's saying it's an important type of drawing, the answer going to be G. Humans may be childish, D. Science may be complex, maybe F. Fish may be consisting of dots. So whatever she is quoting up the drawing with, describing with, you are putting that alphabet in front of that. And then 26 to 27, where are the instructions for the same? Oh yeah, these are the one with the same set of the question. So right? And then when we will be done with this one, so we will be listening to 28 to 30, which are MCQs. All right, so let's start listening now. 26 to 27 is different, and the listening itself will tell us what is the answer and how we will be writing the answer. Maybe the dots, they are the place's name, and you have to write the name of the place, sort of, right? So pay concentration there, because I couldn't find any instruction for these two questions, but what I can understand here, the dots are the place's name, like the other dots are. So you are supposed to write something as an answer there. So you need to see what they are saying for these two dots, right? Okay, this is the audio playing now. Concentrate and answer the questions. It's loading and it's done, and it will play now.
Hello, David.
Oh, hi, Mia. Sorry I'm a bit late.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for agreeing to help me with my assignment today. I really needed to go over it with someone.
Sure. You were going to talk about European rock art, weren't you?
Yes, the rock drawings in the caves of Lascaux in western France.
Oh, fantastic. Over 13,000 years old, I believe. What sort of drawings are they?
They're drawings of animals on the whole, but you can also find some human representations, as well as some signs. There are roughly 600 drawings at Lascaux.
Really? Were they mostly pictures of bulls?
Well, no, actually. The animal most depicted was the horse. Have a look at this graph. It shows the distribution of the different animals. You see, first the horse, and then after that a sort of prehistoric bull.
Oh, okay. That's interesting, isn't it?
And the third most commonly drawn creature was the stag. There were some other animals, but these are the main ones.
What are the drawings like? I mean, what sort of style?
Well, the bulls are depicted very figuratively. They're not very realistic. They're very big by comparison to the other drawings of people and signs. They appear to be almost three-dimensional in some cases, following the contours of the cave walls, but of course they're not.
Amazing. Perhaps they felt these animals were the most impressive and needed to be represented like that.
Yeah, maybe. The drawings of humans, by contrast, consist of just simple lines, like the stick figures my little sister draws. Perhaps humans were seen as less important.
Perhaps. What about the signs? How did they draw them?
There doesn't appear to be much evidence of signs, and those that have been found are usually made up of little points.
Rather like Aboriginal art from Australia.
Yes, something like that, but not as complex, of course.
So, apart from the bulls and horses and stags, were there any other creatures depicted?
In one or two chambers you do find pictures of fish, but they're quite rare.
What sort of size is the cave? It must be quite large to have that many pictures.
Well, it's actually a number of interlinking chambers, really. Here's a map showing where the different drawings can be found.
Oh, good. Let's have a look at that.
The first 20 meters inside the cave slope down very steeply to the first hall in the network. That's called the Great Hall of the Bulls.
Here. Okay.
Then, off to the left, we have the Painted Gallery, which is about 30 meters long and is basically a continuation of this first hall.
But further into the cave.
Exactly.
Oh.
Then we find a second, lower gallery called the Lateral Passage. This opens off the aisle to the right of the Great Hall of the Bulls. It connects the next chamber with an area known as the Main Gallery. At the end of the Main Gallery is the Chamber of Felines. There are one or two other connecting chambers, but there's no evidence of man having been in these rooms. Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have some time to look at questions 28 to 30.
Can we have the questions?
Now listen and answer questions 28 to 30.
Is the cave open to the public today?
Well, no, because after the initial discovery in 1940, it was opened and literally millions of people came through to see the drawings. Then in the 50s, the experts started to worry about the damage being done to the drawings, and the government finally closed the Lascaux cave in 1963.
Is that so?
It wasn't really the tourists that were doing the harm, but the fact that after thousands of years, the cave was suddenly open to the atmosphere, and so bacteria and fungi started to destroy the pictures. You need a special permit to enter the cave now, and very few people can get that, unless they're scientists or have some official status.
It's a shame, but I can see that they had to do something to protect the cave. So that means you can no longer see this rock art.
Well, not exactly. What they've done is recreate the drawings in a man-made cave, which you can visit.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, the authorities decided to reproduce the two best sections of the site, so they've created a life-size copy of the Hall of the Bulls and of the painted gallery. It's just a cement shell, which corresponds in shape to the interior of the original.
So now you can visit the caves without actually harming any of the 13,000-year-old paintings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so answers, kindly send them. And Birbal, first answer is right. And after that, 24 is right. And after that, 26 is right. And after that, no answer is right. And Ali, the last three are right. 7 and 26 is right. And 22 is right. 4, 5 is right. Oh, 5 is wrong. And 21 is right. So 25 is wrong.
What about 23?
Yeah, they are right.
Okay.
3 and 4. Yeah, they are right. Shan, 21 is right. After that, 23, 24, 25, 27. Then no, it's not right. And Gur, 21, 2 is right. 3 is wrong. 4 and 5 is right. 6 is right. 28 is right. 30th is right. Sheetal, 21 is right. 22, 3, 4 is right. 26 is right. 7 right. 8 and 8. 28 is right. That's it. So very few of you got many right. Sana, 21 is good. And 22 is wrong. 3 is you have not given. 4 is right. 5 is right. 6, 7, 8, 9. 30th is right. So if you're missing 1 to 2 answers from these 31, it's good. It's fine. But if you're missing more than that, then you have to practice more with the question section 3 and 4, because here you will be losing marks. Whatever you have gained or built up score till the question 20th, now you will start losing it if you are not concentrating here. And I would like to play 22 to 25, but I'm waiting for you guys to send me the answer first. So the students who haven't sent their answer, kindly send them. If they get no, if they haven't, so that we can move forward. So the first answer, like the first question answer is A, and all of you get it right, because where you are saying first the horse, then after that there's sort of prehistoric bull, right? So it is sort of first drawing, which is like the A pie chart, which is describing the distribution of the animals painted. Okay, that's right, Adobe. And let me check the remaining answer of yours. 20, after that 20, 4, 5, 25 is right. And 20, I'm afraid it's wrong after that. Okay. Okay, so the first answer is right. That's A, right, which is the first graph. And then coming to the how does the women describe each type of the drawing? So the bulls, she described it as H, which is huge, right? So they are very big. So they're talking about that, and what she is saying, that they are very big by comparison to other drawings of people and signs. So bulls, that means they are huge. So big, and the synonym of that in the options given is huge. Then comes the 23rd, humans, and she said D. Oh, I actually gave the right answer. So D is childish, and she said that the drawings of human by contrast consist of just simple lines, like the stick figures my little sister draws, right? So stick figure like little sister draws, so it's a childish thing she is saying. The child has did that drawing. So human, D. The E answer goes with the 24, the signs, which is saying consisting of dots. And how they mention that? That the signs have been found are usually made up of little points. Little points, that mean little dots. So consisting of dot. And then comes the fish. Fish is A, uncommon. And how they have described it? They said in 1 or 2 chambers you do find the pictures of fish, but they are quite rare, right? So rare, uncommon. So that's how your answers become H, D, E, and A. And when moving to the second map, they're describing it. The left to the, then off to the left, we have the painted gallery. Off to the left, we have the painted gallery, which is about 30-meter long. And then this opens off the aisle to the right of Great Hall of the Bull, right? Here it connects to the next chamber with an area known as the main gallery, right? And at the end of the main gallery, so that means at the end of the, this is the next area they are saying, it is connected to the area which is called as main gallery. So this is painted gallery, this is main gallery. Coming to 28 to 30th, the 28th answer is it's B. The air was warming the rock art. So the cave was closed in 1963 because, and how they have said it,
there was bacteria and fungi.
The cave was suddenly open to the atmosphere, and so bacteria and fungi started to destroy the pictures. So the air was harming the rock art, right? And then how David feel about the closure of the cave? What is the answer of this one? A. He agrees with the decision. So how they said it? It's a shame, but I can see that they had to do something to protect the cave. So that means you can no longer see the rock art. So actually he agrees about the decision. Then how can people enjoy the drawings today? I guess it's C, right? Replica of the cave has been built. So yeah, and how they said the answer? They have created a life-size copy of the Hall of the Bulls. Copy of the Halls of the Bulls. That means a replica, a copy, right? So it becomes, the answers become B, A, and C here. Is it clear with everyone, this section? How they have said the answers? And how this is how we will be getting the answer if we concentrating enough. As I told you, the answers, they are paraphrased, right? So if you're looking for the paraphrasing, you heard a word, let's look in the question. If you're getting any paraphrasing, that's your answer.
Yeah. Can you explain the 30th answer? How we get?
Copy of the Halls of the Bulls, no? This is the talk. Halls of the Bull is the space they are talking about since beginning, right? And how can people enjoy the drawing today? Because they said they closed the cave. So
Yeah.
how they will be enjoying the drawings? That they say the life-size copy of the Halls of the Bulls they have made, and it's open for public. So that means a replica of the cave has been built.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so that was the up to 30th, and you can count down your score and you can see where you are lacking behind, which are your gray areas where you need to move, give more practice hours. And let's move to the last section. We got only few minutes, so you need to just quickly go through with this last passage, and it's a bit tricky at the same time. Okay. Okay, so here is the last section, fourth, and I think it needs to be on one page. All right, so this is I'm sharing here the last one. Okay, you can quickly read it, what it is. You will hear an extract from a university lecture on the topic of marketing. We have to do the question number 31 to 40, and we have to complete the notes below. That's the section 4th. So it will be obviously in one recording, right? No pauses. And all the question on the screen right now, and I'm playing the recording for the same. Just look to the question number so you don't looking meanwhile you're listening, not getting confused. So within few seconds it will start playing. It's loading.
Last week, we looked at some general principles associated with marketing, and today I'd like to look at some of those points in a little more detail. So, what is marketing? Or put another way, what does the term marketing mean? Many people think of it simply as the process of selling and advertising, and this is hardly surprising when every day we are bombarded with television adverts, mail shots, and telephone sales. But selling and advertising are only two functions of marketing. In fact, marketing, more than any other business function, deals with customers. So perhaps the simplest definition is this one. Marketing is the delivery of customer value and satisfaction at a profit. In other words, finding customers, keeping those customers happy, and making money out of the process. The most basic concept underlying marketing is the concept of human needs. These include basic physical needs for things like food, as well as warmth and safety. And marketers don't invent these needs. They're a basic part of our human makeup. So, besides physical needs, there are also social needs. For instance, the need to belong and to be wanted. And in addition to social needs, we have the need for knowledge and self-expression, often referred to as individual needs. As societies evolve, members of that society start to see things not so much in terms of what they need, but in terms of what they want. And when people have enough money, these wants become demands. Now, it's important for the managers in a company to understand what their customers want if they're going to create effective marketing strategies. So there are various ways of doing this. One way at supermarkets, for instance, is to interview customers while they're doing their shopping. They can be asked about their buying preferences, and then the results of the survey can be analyzed. This provides reliable feedback on which to base future marketing strategies. It's also quite normal for top executives from department stores to spend a day or two each month visiting stores and mixing freely with the public, as if they were ordinary customers, to get an idea of customer behavior. Another way to get information from customers is to give them something. For instance, some fast food outlets give away vouchers in magazines or on the street that entitle customers to get part of their meal for nothing. As well as being a good way of attracting customers into the restaurants to spend their money, it also allows the managers to get a feel for where to advertise and which age groups to target. Another strategy employed at some well-known theme parks, such as Disneyland, is for top managers to spend at least one day in their career touring the park dressed as Mickey Mouse or some other cartoon character. This provides them with the perfect opportunity to survey the scene and watch the customers without being noticed. Okay, we mentioned customer satisfaction at the beginning of this lecture, and I'd like to return briefly to that as it relates to what we've just been talking about. If the performance of a product falls short of the customer's expectations, the buyer is going to be dissatisfied. In other words, if the product you buy isn't as good as you'd expected, then the chances are you'll be unhappy about it. If, on the other hand, performance matches expectations and the product you buy is as good as you expected, then generally speaking, the buyer is satisfied. But smart companies should aim one step higher. They should aim to delight customers by promising only what they can be sure of delivering and then delivering much more than they promised. So then, if, as sometimes happens, performance is better than expected, the buyer is delighted and is twice as likely to come back to the store. Now, let's move on to look at the role of advertising.
Okay, so there was a clever trick in this listening, and that trick is, you see the question number 39 is here in this side and 40th is here. Normally the sequence is from left to right, but here the sequence changed. So maybe you're looking first here, okay, finding answer, and then you feel like, okay, no, this is 40th, I have to go here. But till the time you just lost the track. It could also happen. That's why it's important to look the question numbers prior, where the questions are lying around. All right, so I will be typing the answer and sending them to you all this time. And I hope you are checking with loyalty, with honesty. And then you are counting down your score, how much you got, right? So the first answer is selling, and the second blank goes with advertising. Yeah, selling, advertising. Yeah, all right. And then goes making money into, it says 16. I don't know how it says 16. It needs to be 32. Yeah. All right. So making money, or maybe you have written making profit. The both are correct. Okay. And after that, the third answer, 33, warmth and safety. Warmth and safety. So the word count, it says 2 words. So you won't be writing and. What you will be doing then? You will be putting a comma, because and is already there. You don't have to type it. If you are typing it, that means you are losing that mark. So that's why I'm saying be honest with your answers. Then comes the social needs. That's done. Okay, then comes the individual needs. 34th. Then 35th is when it is about what sort of survey. So I'll be typing them like the line wise. C, A, B, and A. And the last two, where the order is different, it says 19 is, 39th is better than expected. That's going to be the 39th answer. And the last answer is satisfied.
Isn't it other way around? 40 is better than expected and 39 is satisfied.
No, 39 is better than expected. Customers are unhappy,
Customer.
better than expected, delighted. And product performance is poor, good, or satisfied.
Uh, but what I heard from the audio, it was saying that the customers are, if the quality is good, the customers are satisfied.
Okay, I'm going back to it.
Yeah.
Okay, rest of you can check your answers and kindly, or you also, Ali, kindly
Yeah.
give me the total out of 40 because it's just 1
Sure.
minute left. Kindly give the total, everyone. Out of 40,
Sure.
what's your score? I won't be saying the score, so don't worry about it. I'm just looking at it. Okay, actually they said in a different, I mean, this sequence only, but that doesn't make the answer shuffled. The answer remains same as I have written them, because they mentioned the performances if as sometimes happen, performance is better than expected, the buyer is delighted and is twice as likely to come back to the store. Right, so they said it at the last, but this actually is the answer for 39th only. So there is a trick in there, this question 39 and 40, but answers remain this, I mean this in this sequence only.
So 40
And
is satisfied.
mhm,
40. So 40 is satisfied. 40 is not better.
40 is not, no, it's not better, it's just satisfied. And the other one is better than, then the customers are better than expected. You see, it says performance is better than expected, as it sometimes happens, performance is better than expected, the buyer is delighted. So that why he mentioned that, because the buyer is delighted and is twice likely as to come by. The customers are better than expected and delighted. That's what is the sequence in there in the 39th question.
Okay.
And the score, you need to be really honest with the score, guys. Okay, so Birpal, it's around 7 point, I mean, it's just, yeah, maybe it's 7.5. And Shan, this is 6.5. Sheetal, this is 5 6.5, 5.5 Adobe, Ali 7, and 6.5 Sana. And you guys, no one is still 8. So that means we have a long way to go. Listening seems easy, but actually it has tricks. So we need to learn those tricks, and we have to be competent enough that we are getting the exact band what we require. All right. So I'm stopping this. This is 4.2. I'm ending this session. We will be seeing each other tomorrow with the new set of the module, right? And we will be practicing the new things. Till then, yeah, bye-bye. Take care and see you tomorrow at 2. You know, the classes are from 2 to 4, Monday to Friday. Yeah, bye, Ali. Take care. Bye-bye, guys. Take care and
Bye.
yeah, stay safe. Bye-bye.